everybody, welcome to SLC Punkcast Live and Wired. I am your host, Eric Norris, the unit, and I am here to tell you about the shows that I've attended and to tell you what shows are coming up that I might attend. I can't guarantee that I will, but, there's always something coming up, and this last week was a pretty fucking busy weekend for me. I had 3 shows, 2 of which I attended, 1 of which I had to work. There was one that I had over on last Thursday. Last Thursday, you remember me talking about it? I was in a fucking hurry to get up there. And then the second show was at my house. Then I had to work sound. I had to work the fucking PA. And then I had, that very same night, had to get up to Ice House and see Wicked Temple's CD release show. So yeah, it was pretty busy. So no use, no point in dilly-dallying, some shit like that. Let's get into this week's episode of Tales from the Pit. My spirit was healed at the Wicked Temple. So the first show was Death to All, and if you guys remember me talking about Death to All, they are kind of they're kind of a tribute band to the band Death. The so-called founders of death metal. And it's most of the same guys. It's got Gene Hoglan on the drums and Steve DiGiorgio on the bass guitar. But the main guy who is taking up the throne once left by Chuck Schuldiner is the singer from Cynic. I can't remember his fucking name though. That's why I have my phone up here. I'm like, Okay, I can't remember his fucking name, but he's been doing a great job filling the shoes of Chuck Schuldiner. I mean, for us now in the present day, we will never be able to see Death because Chuck Schuldiner was Death. He was the founder, the curator, the architect behind that whole apparatus. He was the reason that Death exists. But now they have it is Max Phelps, that's his name, Max Phelps. Yeah, so, anyway, Chuck Schuldiner died, brain tumor, back in 2001, and we're never going to be seeing Death in the classic sense. We will never be seeing the original Death. But yeah, this guy, I just read his name, Phelps. This guy Phelps, he is the lead singer and guitarist of Cynic. And he offered up his services to take on the role of in place of the coveted frontman of the founders of death metal. So pretty big load to carry, but damn, did he fucking pull it off. I get down to the show just in time. Like, I am at the door right as they get on. And they just start rolling in with, I think it was Living Monstrosity they started off with. It was awesome just being in that fucking pit. I wasn't in the pit proper. I was just right next to it, and it was just fucking going off. I really enjoyed it. And they were really laying into the Spiritual Healing album. Like, they weren't exactly playing it in its entirety, but they were playing some deep cuts. Oh, yep, Living Monstrosity, and then Defensive Personalities, and then, of course, Altering the Future. And then they did classic Zombie Ritual. They had to get some from the first album. It was, and people went fucking nuts for that one. And then they did the title track, The Spiritual Healing, and that just got everybody fucking, they got them moving. And then they did something special. They went in and did Symbolic. I think it was their 4th album. Let me see. Their 4th or 5th album. I'm a little fuzzy with Death's album discography, the chronologically speaking. But I can't remember if Human came first or if Symbolic came first. But doesn't matter. Symbolic is a pretty damn underrated Death album, and they played the whole fucking thing. The whole fucking thing, from the title track to Perennial Quest. And everything in between, like hearing Zero Tolerance and hearing Without Judgment. Oh, and Crystal Mountain. people were going nuts. I was going nuts. I was having a good time, my friends. It was so epic. Because, I mean, yeah, you'd think some of Death's most classic songs of, at least when I do, I think of like their first 3 records. Of course, I think of Zombie Ritual. I think of Low Life. I think of Pull the Plug. I think of Leprosy. And yeah, those fucking songs from the first 3 albums, and then I sort of get lost in the later albums. But Symbolic is one that that always grabbed my attention, even more so than the likes of Human or Grievance. There was a lot of good shit. There is a lot of good shit. Like, they have a damn near flawless discography. It's just nice that when one of them gets a little bit more attention than the other. You know, Symbolic, the one with the eye on it. And all the while, I'm just yelling. I'm just like nudging my girlfriend, saying Symbolic. Yeah, Symbolic. 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 So anyway, they get through the rest of Symbolic, get all the way down to the bottom, and then of course, death. Okay, no. They don't start shouting death, they start shouting Chuck. It's like, look, no matter how many times you chant his name, unless you have a Ouija board, I don't think he's going to be showing up. So let's just get them back. There they are. They start coming back, and then they come back on with Spirit Crusher. And then after that, Pull the Plug. I go, yes! Definitely within my top 3 favorite Death songs. Pull the Plug. Why don't you? Dun, 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 dun. Pull the plug. I just remember when it went silent and everybody just raised their fists. Why don't you? It was so fucking cool. So that was a great show. I mean, yeah, I missed Gorguts. I was bummed that I missed Gorguts. I really like those guys. And Phobophilic, those guys are cool too. I have seen them before. Saw them play with 200 Stab Wounds, Undeath, and God, what the hell is Enforced over at Kilby Court. Actually, I remember 200 Stab Wounds was not there. They got snowed in coming in from the north. They were trying to get from Oregon to Idaho to Salt Lake, but got snowed in somewhere along the way, so they weren't able to make that show. But it was fine. I had to double over to another show that night. I stuck around to see Enforced, then I had to go over a few blocks to catch a Monum Hearth. Oh, the plight of being a music nerd who values the idea of going to live shows. And talking more about live shows, let's talk about the one that was over at my house, the one over at Poser Palace. I did not book this show. It was my roommate, Nikki, who booked it. And she booked it some while ago, but since then she had started a new job and is working to pay off some debts. There was some shit going on with her. There was some shit going on with her health, and she had to take a step back, and her jobs were fucking her over. And I was like, okay. Now she's got a job, and she's working off her debts, and now but that also means that she's missing out on shows that she booked, so, and it was just me and our other roommate, John, who are the only employees there, and I'm just looking at this flyer like, I don't know any of these fucking bands. It's like, yeah, this was Nikki's show, and she's not going to be here, so, well, this kind of sucks for her. And I'm like, I have another show I gotta go to. Oh my God. I was being kind of pouty that day. And so yeah, 5 o'clock is rolling around, and then me and John are just standing out front waiting for the bands to show up. And we're just sort of talking to ourselves like, who even are these guys? I don't know any of these bands. Do you think the show will end early? I say, I hope it does. I'm trying to get to another show. And I'm thinking, how many people do you think will show up? Do these guys even have draw? I mean, I can barely even read one of these guys' logos. And then the band started shuffling in, and we make our introductions. Hey, how are you? Nice to meet you. What band are you in? Are you playing first? Yeah, you're playing first. Okay, here's where you put your gear. And here's where you put your gear. Here's the green room. There's the bathroom. Blah, 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 blah. You know, here's the little dildo. Let me stick it right on the drums there. There we go. Yeah. If you don't remember, Poser Palace's mascot is a dick. Also, this is the first show that Poser Palace is doing since, God, I think our birthday show, my birthday show, mine and Josh's and Bryce's birthday show. That was back in August. This show was actually supposed to be in September, but then we had problems with the upstairs bathroom directly above the garage started leaking and coming through to the fucking garage where we were hosting the shows. So we had to cancel that show. We didn't know the extent of the damage. We wanted to make sure that everything would be okay. So we had to move it, but we couldn't do it in October because October. If you guys have been watching the last 4 episodes of Tales from the Pit and Live and Wired, then you know what October was all about. You know. It was loaded. And part of our staff was going to be busy with their work. Bryce, who usually works sound, works at Asylum 49, which means that he is off, that he cannot do anything on Saturday night, which is when we usually host shows. Case in point, this show. He was not there. He was at his work, and I had to cover for sound. So, back to what I was saying earlier, we're thinking, okay, let's see who's going to show up. Is it going to be a show where the bands play to each other? Because I've played those shows before. It's kind of a kick in the balls, but what are you going to do? It happens. And then the first band goes on, Sectide, and then I started noticing how many people are actually here who are not in bands. I go, oh shit, well, close the garage. And then I'm like sort of doing a head count. I say, Widger, there's about 30 people here. And then Sectide goes on, and they have a great sound, just total old school NOLA, sludge metal. I told them afterwards they have a sound very, very close to Acid Bath, like really heavy riffs and just like searing vocals. But then these just like really disheveled and sort of panicking clean vocals where it's like, I am not doing okay. That's what it sounded like. It was really good. They were a really good band. So yeah, I was really pleased with those guys, and they were getting people moving. Like, there was some actual mosh pits. That was the other thing. So I'm thinking, are these guys, any of these bands play mosh music? I don't know. I don't know. And I'm sitting there in my Poser Palace throne, which is just this folding chair that I sit at because, you know, I just got to be off to the side. And it's like, I'm the owner of the venue. I'm just here doing sound. Do your thing. You guys are doing good. And I was just sitting there admiring the show. And then I just texted John, said, so apparently these guys had more of a draw than I anticipated. Color me fucking surprised. Yeah, and he was like, are there people moving in there? He said, I say, oh yes, there's some movement in here. Yeah, there is some movement going on in here. All right, well, I guess I actually said, no, not color me surprised. I go, well, color me out of touch. Because, yeah, I don't know any of these bands. They're, you know, and they're kids, you know. Not like teenagers, you know. They're just, what I mean was, anyone below the legal drinking age, I refer to as a kid. Because at that point, you're basically underage. Because if you're old enough to vote and go overseas and kill somebody, but you're not old enough to have a beer to celebrate. Or to drown your sorrows. Something backwards in that logic, but don't let me open up that can of worms. Do not. Sectide played very well, and I was really amazed at the draw and the response they were getting. Everyone was having a good time. Everyone was having fun in the pit. And also, a side note, I ran into a friend of mine who I haven't seen since, I went to high school with her, and then we worked the same job. We worked at the same place for a season. We both worked up at Snowbird. We were in different departments. Like, she was trail patrol, slope patrol, or whatever the fucking thing they call it. Slope security. I don't know. And I was a lifty. But we always ran into each other. And she randomly was at my house. She's looking at me like, I know you. I go, oh yeah, from where? Do you remember Dew Tour? I go, which one? She says, you snorted tea leaves off of my back. I go, holy shit, it's you. And it wasn't tea leaves. It was cayenne pepper. That's a different story. Her name is Lindsay. She used to come and hang out with all my friends. She was a chill person. I was a fucking blast. I was a fun time. She was awesome, and apparently she still is awesome. She's coming to like little underground garage shows, and apparently she works at a coffee shop just down the street from my house. I go, dude, let's fucking catch up at some point. She unfortunately had to leave after Sectide was complete, but it was awesome just like touching base with her. Like, dude, this is like, I haven't seen you for like 10 years. This is insane. So that's pretty cool. Let's catch up. Let's catch up. And I texted my friend like, you're not going to believe who fucking showed up at my house randomly. So yeah, moving on from there, the next band that came up was Safe and Silent. Safe and Silent, they are a metalcore band, and the way I've described them to everybody is a metalcore band in which the composers of the music really, really, really love Deftones. They have a lot of those ethereal, sort of shoegazy components with like these really hard chugging riffs and breakdowns, and the singer does the high-pitched screams, the screams, and then he scales it back, and then he does those nice, sultry, sort of haunted, melodic vocals. And yeah, they were pretty good. They even did a cover of Bring Me the Horizon song. I can't remember the title. I just remember the chant was spelling out the word spirit. S-P-I-R-I-T. Something like that. It's a Bring Me the Horizon song that came out way after I stopped having any interest in them. I mean, I listened to them right up till the album Spectre, which I think came out in 2013. And even then, I wasn't listening to them too much. I was like, I'm more of a Suicide Season type of listener. That was the album that was big when I was a kid, when I was the target demographic. And even though I was the target demographic, I didn't exactly get a leg up on all the metalcore, deathcore stuff. It was still very much like, I'm not entirely sold on it, but I did like quite a few of those songs. Yeah, the classic, we will never sleep, 'cause sleep is for the weak. We will never rest, till we're all fucking dead. Ding! I refuse to close my eyes. It wasn't any of those songs. It was a song I was not familiar with, but I chanted along just for the hell of it, because when in Rome, right? When in the palace. Safe and Silent, they were pretty good. My only criticism is that the vocalist, his screams are great, he just couldn't really sing. I'm sorry, your cleans need some work, pal. You just couldn't really hold a pitch. That's my criticism to you. I know I'm not one to talk because I can barely hold a pitch. I'm not exactly a singer by trade, but my girlfriend is a singer, and I learn a thing or two from her. So, but I know you'll get there, kid. I know you'll get there. So that was Safe and Silent. The next band, Luck-Sick. Luck-Sick. Luck-Sick Lady tonight. Luck-Sick was they were a fun band, sort of wavering in the, I don't know, it's sort of a power violence, kind of crusty band. They were heavy, they were fast, and they were just like absolutely, it's just decrepit, it seemed, their sound anyway. The way they looked was like, they didn't look decrepit. If anything, they looked like hipsters. And I'm talking about the hipsters who you could tell they bought their stuff from a thrift store. And it's just the style. They own it. It's fucking cool. I'm like, yeah, whatever. You look funny. Like they give a shit. But yeah, Luck-Sick, they had a very good sound to them, a lot of great energy. And then the band that followed them, Pure Stink, was basically the same members, 3 of the same members, just the roles swapped, same singer, and they played an insanely short set. It was like less than 10 minutes long. They only had like maybe 3 songs, and I thought that was a funny way to end the show, was just on the band with the shortest sets. Fuck me, man. That's pretty funny. Kind of a nice, I don't know, whatever. It's funny. It was a funny time. So anyway, the show is done. I'm closing up everything. All the bands are gathering up their gear and they're heading on out. we're saying our thank yous, and we'd love to play here again and everything. I said I'm planning a show next month, so I'll hit you guys up if you want to play. So yeah, let's. So yeah, it was a successful show, and yeah, because there was a bunch of youngsters, there was no drinking, there was no, anything like that. The only thing was kids were vaping, and who's gonna call the cops on that, really, But it wasn't a rowdy show. I don't think anyone was. I don't think anyone was worried. So yeah, I had a good time. I was a little pissed off / annoyed that I didn't have anything to do with booking this show, and yet here I am having to work sound. But I was really more pissed off because I had to be at another show at that time. So, but it's okay. The show ended early enough, and then I just hopped in my car and just blazed it all the way down to the Ice House because I wanted to go see my friends Acid Hologram and Wicked Temple perform, two of my favorite heavy / metal bands in Salt Lake. God damn it, it was a good show. I got there while Acid Hologram was playing they were in the home stretch of their set. They were like on their third to last song. I get there and I run into some friends of mine. I run into my friend Tara, who's also my guitarist. And she was stoked to see me. Ran into all the Acid Hologram guys, ran into the Wicked Temple guys. Like, guys, I'm so stoked to be here. Well, I was watching Acid Hologram perform. So, got me a beer, then I just went and watched their set. I'm banging my head and just enjoying my time. And then they start playing their the song by Peaches, Fuck the Pain Away. And during the last chorus, I go, all right, it's time. Hop up on the stage, and then I grab the mic from Max. Fuck the pain away! Fuck the pain away! Fuck the pain away! It was good. It was a good time. And so yeah, I may not have got their whole set, but I at least got a chunk of it. That's all I could ask for. That's what I was hoping for. And even if I did miss their set, I just wanted to be down there, supporting my friends, and just having a good time. That's really what it is about. Shows are just hanging out with friends while your friends are playing music. That's really what it felt. It was just awesome. And I was excited, of course, to see Wicked Temple again. Their American Horror album just dropped, and I love it. I love it. If you listened to last week's episode of SLC Punkcast, you will hear me sing my praises for that album and the specific song in question. That is the Throwdown song. That is the one that'll get you fucking punching the fucking floor. And yes, they played it. So anyway, they as they're setting up, they're adorning the stage with these lights. These candles that were, they acted as lights. They weren't real candles. They were the battery operated ones to give it this like a nice hammer horror gothic appeal, make it look like Dracula's castle, the Wicked Temple, if you will. And they had and all the while, the screen behind the drum set was just playing. While Acid Hologram was playing, it was playing the movie, the movie Monty Python and the Holy Grail. For some reason. Not even clips, just like playing the actual movie. And then while Wicked Temple was setting up, it was playing a lot of clips edited together from all these classic Hollywood monster movies and shorts. We're seeing some like old school 1920s animation from like Felix the Cat or Mickey Mouse. And also seeing the classic monsters like Dracula and Werewolf, Creature from the Black Lagoon, and then also King Kong and Godzilla, and so on and so on. All the classic black and white horror movies. Just clips from that one just coming around. Might I remind you, this is basically the Halloween's final hurrah. That's kind of what this whole idea is. It's kind of what these last shows going into November, right before Thanksgiving hits. It's like, okay, Halloween is simmering down and being shown out to make way for the big fucking bird that every family's going to eat. But we won't be getting to that until a couple weeks. So yeah, all this B-roll is happening. I mean, the flyer even looks like a movie poster of one of those films from way back in the day, in the so-called golden age of Hollywood. And And yeah, they have those, yeah, I'll even have pictures of this one, of what the stage looked like right before they took the stage, right before they went up. And then they do eventually go up. All 4 members go up there and they don their instruments and they just start, fucking like pounding into it. I can't remember what song they started with. Let me look at their album. Because it wasn't the song that starts the album, mind you. It was a different one. Yeah, I think they started with Candyman. Anyway, doesn't matter. They go through the set. They play They Live, they play Miss Wired and Brightburn, Maniac, and Everlasting Scars. My favorite one. That's the one that's a neck breaker for fucking sure. I didn't throw down. I didn't start doing all the fucking crazy hardcore dancing. I don't really do that much anymore, just if the time calls for it. And this was not one of those times. Me and my friends, we were just up there, arms locked around each other, just headbanging like so. It was a magical time. Magical time. It was a good time. For sure, just Wicked Temple is so goddamn heavy. They're one of my most favorite heavy bands in Salt Lake, like metal bands in Salt Lake. They're right up there with, Wicked Temple and Acid Hologram, but also Cudney, Recidivist, Simeon, my boy Drew. Well, I mean, that's the 5 at least. Those are the 5 metal bands in Salt Lake that I love the most, the absolute most. I can't exactly put into words how much I really admire the state of metal in Salt Lake right now. It's really come up. It's really come up over the last few years. Oh, Monstrology. Oh, and Sacrilegion. Gotta hand it out to Sacrilegion. And Deathblow. The classics. And I'm sure more are gonna come up. Oh, Sacrilegion. Gotta hand it to the boys in Sacrilegion. And Suffocator. Even though they're on hiatus right now, I'm thinking of like active metal bands in Salt Lake, but whatever, it doesn't matter. What matters is that we have a very rich scene, and it's just getting richer. So there you go. There was the Halloween's final hurrah, getting my spirit healed in the Wicked Temple, and the Wicked Palace, maybe. I'll come up with a clever title. I think that one might work. But let's talk about some of the shows that are coming up. At this point, guys, these shows are going to be fewer and far between, which is kind of a nice break considering the fucking bulge that we had the last month. And what I just told you about having to double up on shows in one night. Yeah, it's nice that things are going to calm down again. Take a sort of break. Okay, I think I'm fine. But regardless, there are still plenty to talk about. There's still enough. There's still enough live music to go around, and we shall do so starting at the 15th, this Saturday. First we have Sacrilegion, Exclusionist, Through Eternal Mourning, and Mortis, all playing up in Ogden at the Black Lung Society. That is a $12 show, and is going to be at 8 p.m. Then on the 15th, Thrice is coming back to Salt Lake. I cannot remember the last time they were here. The last time I saw them was when they were opening up for Rise Against with Deftones. That was back in 2016, I want to say? 2017? Whenever Rise Against album Wolves came out. Then on the 21st of November, we have a Jaws Presents show. Jaws presents this benefit show, the Martyrs Week Union. And that's gonna be a show with Recidivist, Misbegotten, and Sewn Shut. That's gonna be at Fellowship Hall. It's only $5 and starts at 7 p.m. Then on the 21st, don't have a flyer for this one on hand, so we just kind of have to go with what we got here, the tour poster. But as you can see, it's The Darkness. The Darkness. They're on their Dreams on Toast tour, and they will be playing at The Depot. It is a $45 show, and it starts at 7 p.m. The Darkness. Yeah, do you believe in a thing called love? Well, I would love to be at this show. Just ignore me. Just ignore that. Now pay attention. The 22nd is another show at the Poser Palace. It's another one that got pushed back because of our little flooding incident. It is Theo's 10th Traniversary party. This is their Yeah, Theo transitioned into a male 10 years ago, and we are celebrating. Well, we're celebrating it for him. And we got some good bands on here. We got Treason, Aftershock, Vape Plug, and Sandpaper Bear Trap. Sandpaper Bear Trap. I know the lineup has been changed around a few times, but this is, as far as I know, the final lineup. It's been kind of a chore keeping up with everything that's been going on. But as it stands, this is possibly the lineup. This is the lineup. $5 starts at 6 p.m. Happy Traniversary, Theo. Glad you're doing awesome. Glad you're doing well. And also on the 22nd, this is the one that I am certainly trying to go to. My boys in Simeon, one of my favorite metal bands in Salt Lake. Yeah, Simeon. They're playing with Gurgle and Reeking Slug over at Aces High. You definitely want to make it down to that one. Sounds like it's going to be a real... it sounds like it's going to be dirty. But it's $15 to get dirty. It starts at 8 p.m. And those are all the shows that I got coming up in the next few weeks. So as you can see, the amount of shows has declined a little bit, but that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing, guys, because sometimes there are just too many shows to count. And you know what? It's nice to take a break from going to shows every once in a while, because when you go back to a show, it starts to reinvigorate that original feeling of how excited you were to go see a band play live. Because sometimes you go to a show and the bands are just like, their performances are kind of meh, or if you've been to as many shows as like I have, then you start to, it's like, I've seen it before, I've seen it. Yeah, good job, guys, but I've seen it before. You got to do something that'll impress me. I know I'm starting to sound like an old fucking man, and I suppose what I said earlier about me wondering if these new bands that I had never heard of, these kids, if they're going to have any sort of draw, is really kind of putting things into perspective right now. I'm like, God, am I achieving scene vet status? Am I at that point yet? Jesus, my band hasn't even toured. I just been around and seen a lot of shit. But I'm going to continue to see more shit. And guys, I hope that you continue to see more shit. I hope that you have a great week. I hope that you see some pretty awesome performances at wherever in the hell you are. Hope that you make it out to one of these shows. I hope you have fun. I hope you stay safe. And hopefully you return unscathed. But if you don't, hopefully you have a cool story to go with it. Once again, I am the unit of SLC Punkcast. Thank you for watching this episode of Live and Wired and Tales from the Pit. I'm going to turn it over to Dustin now, and he's going to cover up some of the tours that are coming to your guys' neck of the woods. So stay tuned for that. This is the unit signing off. I'll see you in the pit.
Thank you, Eric. And now we will go around the world. I don't have a ton, but got a few for you. Our pals in Crane got a couple shows left this weekend. They are in Jablanek nad Nizu in Czechia. Then they'll be in Germany tomorrow in Coburg at Yuka's Cosmos. And then on the 26th, they'll be supporting Ignite in Czechia. Then we go to the Ponds, Ham Apple, 1 Square Mile, and our pals in the Afraid on the 21st at the Piazza in Long Beach, California. 8 p.m. show, $7 in advance, so do that. Otherwise, it's $10 at the door. It's an all-ages show, and you can go get your tickets on pre-sale at Eventbrite. Next up, Beton Army. They are into this tour now. Tonight, the 14th in Richmond. Then Nashville, Atlanta. They'll be doing with Dark Thoughts, I think, for the rest of the tour at this point, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was just the first couple shows. Birmingham on the 18th, 19th in Nolans. Denton, Texas on the 20th. San Antonio, 21, 22. Houston, Austin on the 23rd. And then Mesa, Arizona, San Diego, LA, and so forth through the rest of the month. Pomona, San Francisco. And in December, they will finish up the West Coast and start working their way back east. Looking forward to their Salt Lake City show on the 5th. And then we've got on the 15th, Risk with Fool's Game, NYC Shootout, Opposition, Negative Force, Fade. And off the tip, this is in Dayville, Connecticut. $15 in advance, $20 day of show. And I mean, you're getting a shit ton of bands there. It's an all-ages show. Doors are at 4:30. I'm sure it's probably starts about an hour or so after that, but there's so many bands, they got to get started early. Tickets are at easterncthc.bigcartel.com, so go check that out. Looks like it's brought to us also by Days. Love that label. A lot of great hardcore stuff there. Next up, Saturday, November 2nd, Oi versus Hardcore. Our pals Intention Scale playing with Battery March, TFR, and The Workers. This is in Salem, Massachusetts. Go to, what is that, Moonbase 1. Oh, yep. Yep, Troy was talking about that new spot there in Salem, so make sure you get out there and check it out. It's a all-ages sober space, $12 pre-sale, $15 at the door. Doors are at 6, music at 7. I don't see where you do the pre-sale tickets, but I'm sure you can figure it out. You can also go to at moon_north_shore there for Salem for the Moonbase 1. Next up, and last that I have for this episode of Live and Wired, Friday, November 21st, Piston Broke with Antagonizers ATL, playing with Bombers, last show of the year, and Toledo Panic, who just dropped a new album. This is at Escondite in Los Angeles. Free parking, 8 p.m. HoldMyTickets.com if you want to get your tickets, and it is $20. So as you can see, the rest of the information on the flyer. You can also go to Antagonizers ATL, of course, and check it out further from there. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into this week's Live and Wired and all of Eric's Tales from the Pit. Tune in next week for more.